then everybody's gone, and it's much
Send them
less.
out, I got blue on
And then they
that.
can socially distance in that exercise room, so. So I think I'm back.
I think we're live, everyone.
Right, I brought your phone in and made it town hall. Okay. Is everybody ready? I'm going to mute this.
Yep, sir.
Anything you say goes out.
Can you call the order for the town council meeting on August 11th, 2020? All in attendance? Glad to hear. And first, adopt the agenda. I need a motion.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public comments.
Mayor, this month and moving forward, public comments will be accepted in writing as we post it on the website. They are in your minutes, and they are also posted on the website as they're received by 5 o'clock on Monday. So we will no longer be reading public comments, so we don't duplicate the information. We will read public hearing comments.
Okay.
And that is only for the period of the state of emergency that does not allow the public to be present.
Well, the state of emergency could be for another year, so, you know.
But once the pandemic passes and people are allowed to resume physical attendance of the meeting, we would need to then resume public comment in person. But until that's practical or possible, if it meets with your approval, under your ordinance you'd adopted, Mr. Pudney has been delegated the authority to set those standards.
Okay, thank you. Consent agenda, I need a motion to accept.
Make a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Okay, 5.2, order to collect. What are we collecting?
Mayor, that was
Those for the
included in the
taxes?
consent, and that's for the order to collect next year's taxes.
Taxes?
As well on the consent agenda was the employment agreement between the town and myself.
Yeah. Okay, all in favor? Sorry, I need a motion first.
I do.
You have a question?
No, I'm making the motion.
I'll
Okay.
second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Then we need a motion, except for tax refund. I need a motion for that.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Go to number 6. We're looking at the public hearing for the solid waste for bear-resistant container. I need a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any comments? I need a motion to close this public hearing.
Oh, leave it open. I've got one public hearing comment to read.
Okay, go ahead.
This is from David Hellenthal, and I'll read it verbatim. It says, "Maybe it is late in the day, but I do not see clearly a link to place where the public can make comments. Every building, every house, every public place on Beach Mountain should have a bear-proof container. It is just common sense. These containers will last many, many years, so it is well worth the initial expense. I am sick of seeing garbage strewed all over the mountain. Bear-proof containers should solve 80% of this problem. The fact that bear-proof containers are covered containers will also help solve the wind blowing of loose debris problem to a large degree. The human problem of discarding litter improperly is another matter to solve." That is the comment that I would like to make. Thank you, David Hellenthal. I've got a second one, Mayor, from Therese Berry. It says, "Dear council members," attaches a photo of a mess having come from a bear-resistant trash bin. The photo was taken on Sunday, August 9th at 12:45 p.m. The quality is poor as I took this through my car windshield. I know it is not possible to tell if the bin was properly closed or if a bear figured out how to open it. Do not think that a bear opening such a bin is out of the realm of possibility. Consider these stories. And she attached a number of links and pictures of various containers that were being opened by bears. And she ends with, I know that bears are not the problem, people are the problem. Since people can't or won't use these bins correctly, and when bears figure out how to open them, messes such as these will increase. Mandating the use of these expensive bins is not the answer. Please consider huge increases in and strict immediate enforcement of fines for those whose trash is scattered about. That's from Therese D. Berry. Those are the only public hearing comments.
Mayor Kaufman, there was one more phone call that was received from a Michael Harris at 702 Charter Hills Road, stating he was opposed to the proposed bear-resistant language in the amendment.
Okay, thank you. I need a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. I need a motion to, on old business, amend the bear-resistant trash enclosure amendment.
So move.
Second.
Any comments?
I have a few. I think part of what we got with the public comments are, I think, resolved in this amendment. So what this amendment is done is adding in the standards for metal containers if homeowners choose to have metal containers. But what I thought was great about this amendment was for those that decided to go beyond what was sold locally and buy from out of state, as well as those that wanted to build their own.
Correct.
Because that was, my first concern was always, I have several homeowners that built their own bear-resistant trash can, and I wanted to make sure that they were included in this. So I think the town manager approval thing is perfect, but my question is, do they come to the town and fill out a form? Do they get like a certificate, or is it just blanket approval, or?
They will receive a letter from me
Okay.
approving the bin as they've either constructed it or purchased it if it doesn't have the certification that's enacted in the ordinance. So if someone were to build their own, they would call me, I would approve it, they would get a letter from the town that they could have to prove that they had gone through that process.
Okay, perfect, thank you. That's it.
The only
further
question,
comments?
the only question or comment that I had is, I think that will also, I agree with Kelly, I think this will solve by giving choice. My only question would be, Chief, do they have to get if they choose to build their own bear-proof, are they required to get a building permit?
No, that does not require a building permit. It's not of structural nature.
Okay.
It'd be like putting some landscaping timbers out or something like that, putting
Okay.
up, not a sign is not a good example, but a planter or something like that.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so I need a motion to approve the amendment.
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All in favor, so it passes. Thank you. New business, the planning board vacancies. Kelly's going to be reading out the 3 candidates, and at that point, we will approve them.
So we have a planning board of 5 members. We have 3 open slots on this. The first nomination that is made to this board is Urs Gesteiger. I need,
Proud of
did I
you.
say it wrong?
I'm proud of you. Did it well.
I'm sure he is also. I just said Urs.
I've
Let
been
it
practicing this all afternoon.
be. Very
So I
good.
need a motion to go ahead and approve Urs Gesteiger.
So move. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Second opening on the planning board is Gabe Joseph, much easier. I need a motion for Gabe Joseph on the planning board.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye. Third opening on the planning board is, as I go through, is Greg Walsh. See, I messed up the easy one. Greg Welsh. I need a motion to approve Greg Welsh to the planning board.
So moved.
All in favor?
We need a second. Second?
Oh, sorry.
I'll second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
So, all is, all
Mike, if I could revisit one of your motions.
Yes.
Under our ordinance, the members of the planning board do have to be residents of the town.
correct.
And I know in the past, Mr. Steiger has, although he owns property in the town, he's not a citizen and resident for purposes of his full-time residency. I don't know if he has changed that, but just wish to bring that to council's attention as to,
Should we table that to see if he's a voting resident, and then come back to that third opening
Well,
next meeting, or
we definitely know he's not a voting.
not? Okay.
His application does say, no, actually, he says he's not a resident.
Well, I missed that.
So we'll have to change.
May we change the ordinance that you can have at least one non-voting
Non-resident.
resident?
That's what we did with the TDA.
as I recall the general statutes, both the planning board and board of adjustment do have residency requirements in them. As for those two boards, the other boards of the town do not. But as I recall, those boards do have residency requirements.
For all 5 positions?
Yes, sir.
And that's North Carolina law? Or is that Beach Mountain law?
To my recollection, that is North Carolina law. It is codified in your ordinance, which is what I was just looking up.
So may we make it official that Gabe and Greg have been nominated for the board?
Well,
And
we're gonna have,
and
We're
then,
gonna-
Yes, sir. If it please the board, if you would proceed with the other two and perhaps hold Mr. Steiger's spot open until next month, I'll research that to make sure I give you
correct?
the right answer.
Confirm that?
But I do believe what I've told you so far to be correct. But
Okay.
if you'll hold that position, you might need to reconsider it.
So what seat is available, or what committee is available on Beach Mountain for a non-resident?
I know the
Is there any?
TDA.
Most of them.
Any except for the planning board and board of adjustment.
Right.
all right, have we checked on Gabe Joseph? Is he a resident of the town?
Yes.
He is, yes.
Full-time.
All right, because his application said no, but it's over a year old, so. All right, so we'll have to, I guess I'll have to take a motion to leave that vacancy open.
Yes, sir, or you can simply table that third, Mr. Steiger's position if you wish.
So I need a motion to table that one.
You may either table it, or as the mayor just state it's tabled till the next meeting. Your choice.
Table to next meeting. Any objection?
Motion
No.
set.
So, and then in the interim, you'll get back in touch with
With us?
either the mayor or Bob or our
Yes, sir,
or
I'll
Chief Budney?
confirm and respond to Mr. Pudney and let him communicate that to the majority or to the council.
Okay?
Just in case that it stands to what Flora is telling us, you make sure you go through the applications again, because we will need a third for next month, if you don't mind.
Okay?
We will have an answer for you by the end of this week. I mean,
Yeah,
it shouldn't
but-
take us long to figure this one out. So I'll get that to
Yeah.
you right away.
I think also too, to see if there's a way to put a non-resident on, if it's not North Carolina law.
I believe it's a statutory requirement for residency. That's what I want to double check. Your ordinance does say they have to be a resident, but I need to confirm with the general statutes that's a requirement. If you wish to, if it's not a statutory requirement and you wish to open that up, we would need to change the ordinance before you make such an appointment.
Okay.
Okay? Any other questions? All right, Bob? Town manager's staff report?
All right, well, we've got the staff reports in the back of the agenda. One I want to point to first is the financial report. As we discussed last meeting, I asked you to wait till this meeting to look at the end of the year, June, end of the fiscal year report. And so we've given you documents for the general fund, the sanitation, as well as water and sewer. And I think it's important to note, particularly for the public, that the financial report ending the fiscal year in 2019-2020, we took $65,000 out of reserves, out of the reserve fund, as we discussed. Back in February, if you recall, I came before you and you approved a $710,000 budget adjustment to pave Buckeye Creek Road. We used $65,000 of that 700. The rest remains in the fund balance. I think that's important to note. As we finished out the year, we accomplished a great deal. You approved sufficient funding to get that work done, and because of your leadership and the town's ability to get that work done at a very efficient manner, we used $65,000 of the $700,000+. So our general fund did very well.
But where did the rest of the money come from? Came out of reserves?
No, it came through operations.
Through other departments?
Yes, that was funded through the general fund with existing dollars that we had, and you can see each department how they finished the year.
Right.
You approved a budget amendment last month where we balanced, we ended the year and balanced the departments. So I think for those who, and I know it was an issue last month, for those that were concerned about how the town was spending money and doing the infrastructure, the final end of the year report shows we're very, very healthy. In fact, we accomplished literally $680,000 worth of work and used $65,000. So I think that's important.
Well done.
It is.
Well done.
That's great financial management.
Yep.
And to be able to move these funds around and really not cost, and I mean, the funds are already there, but be able to move the funds from department to department where there was an excess, and also, I mean, I think that from what you did this year, that's going to help plan with a better budget next year.
Oh, absolutely. That was the intent, so that we had a very clear picture on where we spent our money,
Right.
how it was spent. More importantly, how are we going to go forward as we manage this budget and we manage in preparing the next budget. On the utility, the numbers aren't as good. The utility struggled, as you can see, and we are addressing that as we speak. The utility has had a number of issues that we struggled at the end of the year. However, those plans are in place to bring that back in line. And sanitation, we had the increase with Watauga. We've addressed it in this upcoming budget. The June 30 numbers on sanitation weren't as healthy as we expected. That's what justified the fee increase on sanitation, and that's also what drove the controlling of the solid waste stream, not only at the convenience center with the permit process, which, as you know, has been very controversial, but with the tonnage that we're actually collecting and taking to Watauga. So those three financial reports, if you've got any questions, I'll be happy to deal with those now. But I did want to point that out, that general fund, extremely well and healthy, got a lot done for relatively little amount taken out of reserves. We'd like to do it all without taking out of reserves. And as we go into this project year now that you've funded, there's a lot of work being done, and we're doing it the same way.
What revenues or what income do you anticipate? Let me back up. With the fees here, with the $38,664, is part of that for the placards?
Yes, we funded the placards out of that. The sanitation is an enterprise fund, which means it has to stand on its own,
Right.
as well as the utility. So the fees that the town charges the customers for sanitation goes 100%, must go 100% to the sanitation fund. So the placards were purchased out of that
Okay.
fee and revenue. You're looking at the revenue side.
Correct. So what, the nice thing about the placards is that the revenue is going to go up and the tonnage to Watauga County landfill should go down substantially. In one of the graphs that you gave us several months ago, it showed, you had a graph of the reduction of waste that was going to the landfill, except for some of the construction costs, and that was for the building.
That was our construction.
Correct.
The town's.
So what estimating savings do you think that the town will receive with the less waste going to Watauga County? I mean, in general numbers, approximately an estimate.
Well, I don't have that yet. We've been operating since July 1st, and actually, we really, as my report to you said, July 22nd is when we really instituted the program. So I really don't have a lot of data. I will point to the report that I sent you from Daniel Davis that in the first week of operation, he estimates that 50% of the vehicles entering the convenience center were not authorized, didn't pay for the disposal. They were somewhere else from the town, and they were turned away. So if that, that's an anecdotal number. If we're anywhere close to half the people that were dumping garbage up here aren't anymore, I don't think that's the case, but that's all we've garnered so far.
Sure.
We tried to compare our tonnage this month from the same time last year, and it was higher. But we also looked at our water usage, because that's how we determine how many people are actually staying on the mountain at any given time. We correlate that to the gallons of water we sell. So last year, the same period of time, we were down in population, and as we are this year in water usage. So now we believe that the garbage is higher this month than last year because we have a higher population. I need 6 months of data to give you a ballpark figure. It will be reduced.
Thank you.
I just want to interrupt you for 1 second, if you don't mind. I just got an email from Urs. I guess he's asking a couple questions, and I want to do it while we're still live. Well, I guess first question he asked was, before he made the application, did he have to be a resident? And he was told no, but that's beside the point. He says, I have not been a voting, okay. My review of the ordinance, chapter 151, did not seem to require that I need to be a resident. Is that correct?
Since I have brought this up, I have been looking both at the general statutes and at the ordinance. The ordinance section 151.02A says that the planning board shall consist of 5 members. All board members shall be citizens and residents of the town and shall be appointed by the town council.
Shall be citizens also?
Citizens and residents, yes, sir, is what, so that does require that to be the case. The statute, however, says that unless otherwise prohibited by your charter or some other act, you may appoint non-residents to the planning board if you choose to do so. So under the ordinance as it is presently written, you would not be able to appoint a non-resident to your planning board. If you wish to amend that to remove the citizenship and residency requirement for living within the town of Beech Mountain, you can do so, but that process needs to first go to the planning board itself for a recommendation and then come back to you for a public hearing before you can amend your ordinance and then make your appointment. So that would be the proper procedure if you wish to proceed with Mr. Steiger's nomination.
Okay, well, we'll table that for now, and we'll deal with it at a later time. Sorry, Bob.
No problem. On the financial, I think that's probably the most important thing in my report tonight, and I want to start off with that first before everybody gets glassy-eyed. And make sure that end of the year report, everyone has their questions answered, and if you need anything from me or from the finance director, obviously we're ready, willing, and able to answer the questions, but I want to make sure that the council tonight was aware, because last month I had asked you to give me till tonight. Okay.
That's a nice job. Thanks again.
Well done.
On the COVID-19 update, we're still in phase 2 for 5 more weeks, so really nothing has changed at the town. That requires face coverings. Our sign is still operating as we enter the town. Retail and rentals remain at a 50% occupancy requirement. The town hall lobby is open to the public with masks. We're doing a lot of meetings out on the patio and in the parking lot. And actually, now that the weather's nice, it's good and healthy, and we're having good meetings. I don't know what it's going to be like in wintertime. Boards and committees are still canceled. And we did have, and I communicated to the mayor, we did have some positive tests, COVID tests in our employment here at Town Hall, required me to close Town Hall for a period of 4 days. That has all been resolved. All of our employees are healthy. We'll be returning to work on different schedules based upon their health, but everybody's doing well, and we've taken all the precautions that's been recommended, and even some to mitigate that. On the convenience center, I did send you each a written report from Daniel Davis. I was going to summarize it tonight, but he wrote such a good report, I didn't think there was anything I should take out of it, which is why I emailed it to you. But basically, what he was telling you, and for the public's information, is for the most part, it's gone well. It's been difficult, stopping every vehicle and asking for the placard, and the ones hanging on the mirror get waved in. Identified a substantial number of entities and people who were using the convenience center without paying anything for it. Things have calmed down dramatically, and we seem to have a smoother operation here in the last week. The phone calls to Town Hall have dropped dramatically. We've been working with each individual person that has a problem, answering their questions, trying to find a solution for them. The group that has the biggest problem with what the town has done is the VRBO, or private rentals of their own home, where they don't go through a rental agency or company, and they have difficulty moving the placard back and forth. Their business model was that the renter would take the garbage upon leaving at the end of the rental period and take it to the convenience center, and that was very convenient for that business model at the time. With the change, that business model no longer works, and we've been discussing with each one of them that have called in some options that they have. They have options to put in a bin and let us pick up the garbage, and many have chosen that, and actually I believe that's going to work well. Others have been very unique. They've taken the placard and attached it to a 2x4 with a little piece of chain, much like the old bathroom key at the service station, so that people don't take it home with them. I thought that was unique. And others have looked into dumpsters for the multifamily buildings and things like that. So it's not smooth. But we've worked out many of the kinks, and my hat's off to our employees at the recycling center. They did not sign up to be public relation folks and mediators. We've had to have the law enforcement over there a number of times. I myself went over there and checked tags just to see what it was like, and it was interesting, but there was some issues there.
Interesting.
I would like to give you some numbers. We have a permit process for those people who live outside the town and don't pay sanitation that we're using the recycling center, and we've sold 23 of those out-of-town accounts, and those are yearly passes for those people, and they pay 125% of what a resident pays for sanitation for the year, and you approved that back sometime. So they pay what a resident pays plus a 25% premium to use our recycling center, and they're not.
Question on that, is that open at a certain time of the year? Is it just done by month, or just when they come in to Town Hall?
When they come in, yeah. They call here, we direct them to Rebecca or Jackie, and they handle that.
Chief, is that $288 plus 125% on top of that?
It's $370 total.
$370?
Yes, for that yearly, and we've sold 25 of those so far.
Thank you.
More importantly, I think, is we identified 113 properties in the town, taxpayers in the town that were not paying anything towards solid waste. We did an audit of our utility accounts, And our utility accounts obviously has water, sewer, and sanitation on those. And we found 113 that we're not paying anything for sanitation, but obviously we're disposing of their garbage. So that has been a positive in this process. So the system's working as people get used to it. I'm still asking you to give me, a few months to work out the kinks. We've made some adjustments for people who didn't get theirs in the mail. We're working on a plan to handle people who lose their placard and need to replace it. Currently, the fee schedule says that they have to pay full price, which is $288. They get two. That's not popular, as you might imagine. I don't think, some people may not have realized how valuable that placard was and didn't pay attention to where it was. I think they are now, particularly the ones that I speak to. But we're trying to work out a program where we can realistically, legitimately protect the other taxpayers who are paying and not just give out replacement placards, at a nominal fee. So we're working on that, and by November, I'll have some good numbers for you, Councilman Abernathy, on the business side of it, and I'll have some policies worked out so that we can manage this a little bit better.
I got a question. For the folks that weren't paying, how did you do your due diligence to uncover this? Did you have to go through each?
We did an audit of every utility
bill?
account. And it's not as simple as just saying, well, there's water. Some had no sewer because they were on septic tank. Some had no water or sewer, but needed to pay for garbage. Many more, most of the 113 had water and sewer account and no sanitation. And there are very few, but there are some who have multiple meters, like a retail establishment may have 2 meters and they have a dumpster. So on the first meter, they're paying a sanitation fee. On the second meter, they would not. And so we had to account for that. And so anyways, to answer your question, every utility account was audited.
And I'm sure this wasn't an easy task, but at the end of the day, when you look at the financial benefit of what this has created and the savings or the fairness to the taxpayers of Beech Mountain, I mean, just like your financial, your financial savvy with the $680,000 is another job well done by you and your staff.
Well, the staff did. I just told them to do it.
I tell you,
they did all the work.
Whoever places you in 2024 is going to have some big shoes to fill.
And I appreciate all the accolades, but remember that I just identify the need and ask for it to be done. I can't run the computers. I can't, go and make the searches. Predominantly, it was Steve Smith and Rebecca Ward that did this for us, and they've been working on it, quite a bit. And again, we're not trying to make money. We're not trying to raise revenue. We're trying to be fair to everybody. And you set the standard. You said that everybody pays the same rate and gets the same benefit. And that's what we're doing. And so I think it's, once we get through the initial shock, which I think we are, things will be better. It will be fair to everybody on the mountain. Everybody pays their fair share. And hopefully the fact that we did not raise the rates 100% as Watauga raised ours, we'll be able to balance that out with the budget.
I do want to say Daniel's report was on point, very, very good, very thorough.
Yeah. That's why I sent it to you. I could not have summarized that. I do want to, we get calls from time to time, where can we dump paint and oil and things like that? Avery County on the 29th is holding a hazardous waste collection in Newland at their solid waste facility. It's only for Avery County residents, but you can take paint, varnishes, glues, or used motor oil and dispose of it there at no charge if you're an Avery resident. So you'll need to provide an address. It's an Avery address, and you can do that. It's from 9 o'clock till 3. We've posted it on the town website, and we've sent it over to Public Works so that they can do that. Projects. The water and sewer line project is going along very well, unless we're digging up the road in front of your house. I understand that. But the contractor, again, is at the end of the day is closing all the ditches, grading the road, spending a lot of time putting the road back in shape for the next day so that not only the residents can use the road, but emergency vehicles. And that's a lot of work to, dig a ditch, put a pipe in, and then spend the afternoon covering it and grading it, things like that. The contractor's doing an excellent job. Shane Park, we had a meeting with Dr. Shane and his wife and the construction group. They were very pleased with the progress. They were not fully up to speed on everything that was being done, but they are very happy. We have a completion date of September 15th. That's going to be a substantial completion date, so hopefully we'll be able to get that project done and online. The Greenway, it's 100% complete, whatever. The final inspection is scheduled for the 13th, and we will get the DOT sign off, and then it belongs to us. The mayor and I had some discussions about the visual effect of the Polygon building. Some people like it, many more don't. It looks a little too commercial. I'm hoping that with the Public Works facility in the background, it will kind of blend in. But John Merritt has taken a look at it. He's come up with one of John Merritt's designs to make it look more beach mountain. And after I show it to the mayor, which I haven't done yet, we'll see if we can't soften it up a little bit.
Question on that, with the Fireman's Park that's going in there, the Wind Park, is that still moving forward?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. We are awaiting final DOT sign off on the grant for the Greenway, because we're going to make some adjustments there. So I can't do anything on the site. We've ordered materials, ordered flag poles, contracted with the mason. So that will proceed as soon as we get approved final sign off from the DOT.
Okay.
My question is, would council like to have a ribbon cutting for the Greenway? Do you want to have an event where we cut a ribbon, and want me to schedule that? Everybody's
do.
shaking their head.
I think it'd be nice.
Yeah,
I'll take care of it.
as long as it's not in winter.
No, I'll get that one done pretty quick. Roadway striping is well underway. We've striped quite a bit of the mountain with a private contractor. Things seem to be going well. We've had some areas that needed to be corrected. We had some curves that weren't painted initially because the truck was too big. The contractor's coming back with a smaller vehicle to do the curves, so that's not a final product. We've finalized our plans with the DOT for striping the parkway. They're coming up next week, Tuesday, weather permitting, and we'll stripe the Beach Mountain Parkway.
That's great.
Paving on Grassy Gap Loop, we should be completing that today. The water lines have all been replaced. We found 3 major leaks in that little project on Grassy Gap, substantial leaks, which we didn't know existed until we dug up the road and replaced the water services. So that again just validates the fact that Daniel's plan to do the service lines, the several, 2,400 of them, is going to pay off in not only better water, but reduce our leaks. After Grassy Gap, we're going up to Oz Road. We've got some patches to do elsewhere that I'm really not going to list, but there's quite a bit of paving going on. Up at Outback, Emerald Outback Trailhead, we had some complaints about parking in the roadway. There just wasn't a suitable parking area up there on the weekends. So Sean Royal and his crew went up and have created a much larger organized parking area. We put no parking signs up along Oz Road, and we monitored it last weekend, had 100% compliance, and had a lot of good comments. We've met with the 2 property owners that are affected. They have agreed to let us do what we're doing, and we'll be working with the town attorney to come up with some documentation that allows us to be on that property and make some improvements.
It's actually,
Just one comment on that. Well, the striping they put down because of rain is gone, for the parking.
Oh, yeah.
And the second part is that
That was
I
on Friday.
was up there today, and everybody's parked right in front. Nobody's parking diagonally the way it should be. So I don't know how we make people understand.
Well, I've got to put a person there. That's what I did last weekend. We put some Parks and Rec folks there, and they were parking monitors, and everything went really well.
I know, but we can't have somebody there 7 days a week.
No. Once we get this agreement with the landowners, I plan to move some gravel up there. This is across from the trailhead underneath the power lines that looks out over the resort. Gravel that, split rail fence on each side to delineate and put in some directional parking. So, but we need the landowners' approval before we spend any money.
I wonder if we shouldn't put concrete stoppers. Maybe that would, in front.
We could.
Maybe people would get the idea that that's where they have to park.
Yeah.
Rather than, right now, anybody, most of the people going up there are tourists or, people that have been up here visiting. So with the striping being wiped away, they don't know. They really have no clue. But so if we put stoppers, maybe that would click the same gee.
It's a parking spot.
Parking spot.
Yeah.
We can certainly do that, Mayor.
That's actually a nice problem to have. Hopefully, that's indicative to more traffic coming to Beach Mountain.
Oh, yeah, and today there was no place whatsoever.
Well, it is, and it's heavily used, and that's a good thing. Worked with Kate at the TDA, and they have been marketing that trailhead exclusively. And so now what they're doing is marketing all of our trails, all of our trailheads to try and spread the load out. Because, the downhill bikers like the Outback, but the hikers prefer other places as well. So Kate is working diligently to get the marketing out other than Emerald Outback. So hopefully, it is a good thing that we've got a lot of people, and we'll just try and spread them out a little bit.
Bob, with the trail counter, it says 7,300 roughly. Is
Yeah.
that 7,300 people going through that trail?
Or deer.
Oh. That's a lot of people.
It's an unmanned trail counter so that anything that goes by it clicks.
Okay.
So you've got to take it with a grain of salt. It's a
Okay.
gross number.
Yeah.
And you can go both ways, or if, you're prone to having fun, you stand there and, go back and forth.
Gotcha.
But we did count quite a few deer. Sean is looking into a more accurate method of determining how many people go by there. But there's a lot. I don't think there's 7,700.
Yeah.
But there's a lot. Buckeye Creek Road, our ribbon cutting is the 27th at 3 o'clock at the Westerly Hills Trailhead. We'll go out there, be a short ceremony. We're going to bring in some people from Fall Creek area, neighbors on the backside.
Sorry, what time?
It's at 3 o'clock on the 27th. Our test wells, we received bids, and I awarded the bid today to McCall Brothers Well Construction for $52,800. We budgeted $50,000, so we came in a little bit over. These are the test wells where we can hopefully find some suitable water. If not, we can check the box, so it won't be money just thrown out the window. The criteria is it has to be 100 gallons a minute on a blowdown test. That I asked in the bid specs that we need to have a method to determine if it was feasible or not. Finding 5-10 gallons a minute is not feasible. So 100 gallons per minute on the blowdown test is the criteria that we'll use. We'll go up to 800 feet down for that price and see what we find. And then I'll report back to you. That has a 60-day completion, so it's pretty quick. We need to know. So in less than 3 months, I'll have an answer to you if we found water, and if we did, how much.
Chief, I got a question on that. So if the town's not successful with 3 of these wells, does that put us one step closer to the Watauga intake project?
Well, it does. I don't think they're exclusive, mutually exclusive. As you know, we've always been criticized that we didn't drill wells. We should have looked for water first, and that's not true. But as we discussed back in February, we're going to drill test wells so that we either find water, which hopefully is there, or we are able to say we did our due diligence and there isn't any water, and stop telling us to look, spending money drilling wells. The same thing with the infrastructure, the leaking pipes. We're fixing those. We have a plan going forward, so take that off the table so as we go towards the Watauga. If one of these wells comes in, at 80, 90, 100 gallons a minute, that is to our benefit. I mean, it's not enough to preclude us going to the Watauga, but it certainly gives us a quick response that gives us a substantial number of gallons per day that we can add in there. So the worst case scenario is not to find any water, which then all we can do is say we did our due diligence and we spent $52,800 and we didn't find water. The best case scenario is we find some water, and then depending on how much. I don't think it will negate going to the Watauga over time. I really don't. Unless we find a big thing of water down there that no one knows about, and it's going to supply us forever. We'll drill a lot of wells and we'll be in good shape.
And just refresh me one more time on why these 3 sites were picked.
Well,
And it doesn't have to be the long answer, just.
a guy with a divining rod.
Oh, is that what it was? Just taking a little
He used to
stick
be on
out?
Gunsmoke.
I'm not sure what he's not a geologist, but a person who is an expert in underground water supply. We brought him up. We gave him a map of the town.
Okay.
And I said, basically, if money isn't an object and ownership of the land, put your finger where the water is. He told me he couldn't do it. But they went out there literally with these, and they said, if I was gonna drill a well, we'd drill it here.
Okay,
And we're gonna do 2 of those and see what comes up.
excellent, thank
So
you.
our maximum is 3, and we're stopping with spending money on the wells after 3.
We're gonna
3
do
tries.
2.
2.
We're gonna do 2. We've got 2 good locations where we own the land, and if we do find water, we need 100 feet of secure area for the state to let us make it a drinking water well. So we picked those 2 best places where we think we're gonna hit water, and we control the property. So we didn't have to go buy property or get an easement or anything like that. So
So-
after these 2, we'll reevaluate and see what we find.
So the situation with the state in times of drought, when you have to release so many gallons of water from Buckeye, will these, if a well is found to be viable, will it pump water into Buckeye, and that's going to contribute to releasing water downstream?
No. These wells, if they're viable, will be turned into drinking water wells, and they will treat the water on site at the well and put it directly into the system.
So that's autonomous from Buckeye?
It will not go into the lake, and it will not go into the water plant. It will be treated on site and go directly into the system, these 2, if they're viable.
Okay,
That's the
thank you.
plan. And again, if either one of these are viable and we go that route, it's substantially more money to make that happen. It's probably, I don't want to shoot for that, $250,000 a site to do that. Develop the well into a drinking water well, treat the water and put it directly into the system. It's not inexpensive.
Bob, is 2 acceptable due diligence to the state?
The state doesn't require us to drill any wells.
Okay.
This is public perception, and the entities who are criticizing the town for not doing their due diligence. The state has already said and declared that we don't have sufficient water, groundwater is not available, which is the wells, and they have determined that we should go to the Watauga. It's not to meet the state requirement or appease the state. It's basically other local governmental agencies who say we're not doing our due diligence.
So this is one more step in addition to,
Yes, ma'am.
okay. Thank you.
Okay, town website, we are under development, we signed a contract, I believe 2 of the council members are involved in that, so we're looking forward to that project getting moving. The Public Works facility, we've got the steel frame up on most of the building. We still have another 40 feet of slab to put in where the wash bay is, and another 40 feet of building. We're working with the Pinnacle Inn I don't think they realized what was going to happen when we tore all the trees down and dug up and then built a building. So we're working with them, trying to come up with an acceptable buffer solution. What was designed in the plan isn't acceptable to them. Quite frankly, maintenance-wise, it was trees on top of a little berm, and they were widely spaced. I don't think they would have accomplished anything if we could keep them alive. So we're looking at some sort of a fence, landscaping buffer back there. You've probably received calls, but we are working with them to do it, and that project is moving along. All right, Fred Full called me today, and very thankful, and wanted me to express to you he and his family's sincere appreciation for the acknowledgement of the renaming of the Buckeye Recreation Center. He said, and I'll quote him, he said, it was one of the best moments of his life. So he wanted me to tell you that tonight. He couldn't be here personally, and he was very emotional when he told me that. So Fred appreciates everything that you all did for him that day. Our Employee Health Insurance Committee, we've had another meeting. It went very well. We're putting out a survey to the employees. The group has decided on a survey. We'll bring it back. For the most part, the employees are appreciative that the council has asked for their input on the dependent care insurance. And I think we'll be able to come to you in November with a recommendation from the employees, and then you can take a look at it and decide what you want to do. But this isn't something we're just going to let lie. We've had 2 meetings so far. Our golf cart registrations, Mayor, you brought this up last meeting. You asked us to send out letters. We sent out 11 letters to previous golf cart registrants and got a fairly good response. If you look at the numbers to date, we're one off of where we were last year. So I think that was an effort well spent, and we were able to garner additional.
Well, we do have a question about that.
Sure.
All last year, we only did 39 in card inspections. And then
I don't know.
This report shows 40, so we found one.
No, you're referring to last month's?
Last year's report, all through the last 90 days, it always read 39 on 2019.
Well,
so I don't know if somebody put a number in the wrong place, or if somebody discovered an error.
no, the last month's report said 39 for 2019.
Correct.
And that was through May 30th of 2019. So this report is through June 31st of 2019. So that means last year in June we added one.
We added one?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I think those numbers are accurate. And we're at 39 this year, which means for the same period last year, we're one off. Did that cover that? I wanted to make sure you knew we sent out those letters. The Buckeye Sewer Lift Station that you approved last month, we're out getting proposals from contractors. We're resolving several roadway drainage issues that have been plaguing the town for 20-plus years, and we've just never found a final solution. We just continue going out with a road grader or backhoe and fixing the ruts or fixing the plug ditch, and we haven't really solved the problem. So we've chosen 3 or 4 sites, one of which is Wintergreen, the top of Wintergreen and Upper Snowbird. If you've ever been out there after heavy rain, it's rutted, it's very bad. And what we're going to do, I've met out there with our design people and brought in one of the engineers, and we're going to fashion some solutions so that we stop going out there every time it rains and putting gravel down and grading. We need to solve the problem as opposed to just fixing the damage. So that's underway, and I'll be able to report to you on that. I talked to you about the financial reports, so we're good there. And then the department reports are here. Mayor, you had asked a question about building permits and potential delay. I met with Preston Yates on on those permits. We did not discover any that were over 30 days. Most of the ones that were in that 30-day window was due to the fact that they hadn't been paid for.
Okay, great.
So my report to you is I did not find a delay in permitting for our builders. If someone has a problem, they need to call me, and I'll take care of that right away. But we found most of the ones that were 30 days hadn't been paid for. Yes.
Great.
So that's my report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bob, I just had a quick question. Any reason why there wasn't a July detailed revenue sheet for the rec center?
No reason.
I was just curious to see how they were doing.
I missed that. When I go through every one of those, they didn't detail it. They had the total monthly revenue. We are, and I don't know if this is the reason, we are changing the format after we discussed last month, particularly with the drive-in movie.
Yeah. That's why I was
where it was
curious.
separated,
Yeah.
and I asked for projects to be incorporated regardless of the time frame.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that that's the reason, but I did ask for that report to be changed in format, so I'll find out for you.
And also the TDA is showing an increase.
Yeah, broker revenue.
Yeah, the TDA is, that's a shining star.
Yes.
With all the pandemic, with all the closures that we had, particularly in May, Kate's report shows that we set a record for the year, and you see the numbers there. If that continues, we need to go to the TDA to get more money. I mean, quite frankly, they're doing very well, and that's a good indicator of the health of the town. There's a lot of visitors. That's what this measures, and what you are doing is working because there's more and more people coming to the town to enjoy it. It results in occupancy tax, and therefore the TDA can market more, and we can bring more people in. It's just it's a good measurement of the health of the town.
The TDA also has made a big point of domestic travel. We're at a point now where we can't do any type of international travel, so drawing people out that way, I think, has really put the word out and brought a lot of people up here.
I think so. And while we're on TDA, I don't know who I had the discussion with, but part of the TDA's responsibilities is economic development. And, I've seen a lot of TDA work, but not a lot of economic development work. So we've been focusing on that over the last 45, 60 days and making some inroads. I had some meetings yesterday with some people who came up that want to do some development. I think you've been contacted by a developer that wants to do something in the town, residential. Those contacts are extremely important in our economic development. That's something that can't occur overnight. It takes some, shoe leather. But we do have some economic development that's moving forward, and I think over time, that's going to be a big benefit for the town.
In response to that, I think it would be nice at some point in time if there was some property available, and I don't know if across the street from Fred's would be a viable spot for this, but to have some type of office/retail space that we can, that folks that want to work out of their home can have a retail space up here and let it be, or office space and let it be a hub where there are some nice copiers that are available. They have a code that they can press so that you know how to allocate the cost. But to be able to have a work center up here for folks that choose to move to Beech Mountain, work out of their home, but need something a little bit more professional. And there's families that are moving up here that are doing R&D. I don't know if that space is available, but, just something to kick around.
Well, the town has a lot of land that it owns, as well as, there's a lot of private land here, adjacent to that, up the slope here. I think it's important that the people who do this for a living, that do it for a profit, come in and make proposals to the town and say,
Sure.
we'd like to put that type of thing in, or we would like to put, something, so that we could have the ability to look at that and decide if that was beneficial for the town. But there's a lot of land available, both public and private, for development, depending on what it turns out to be.
You could have, just thinking out loud, you could have a stockbroker, have an office set up here. You could have something with healthcare, part-time nurse, part-time physician or something. And, if you had office space, and then, rent them an office and, just add that to the amenities to Beach Mountain.
Do I understand you to say that you want that to be a private entity? You don't want the town to develop that?
No.
Okay.
No,
Good.
it needs to be a private entity.
Good.
Reach out
We're on the
to,
same page then.
reach out to a developer and let
Yeah.
them take the ball and bring back some ideas on.
And there are people who do that, obviously, for a living, and that's who we're reaching out to, those type of folks who can come and take a look at the mountain and see what the market will bear, what is needed, and come back with a proposal.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'd like to direct people to Buckeye Road, try to develop that area. So, I mean, if anybody wanted any kind of assistance or help from the town, that's where I would direct them. Because if we can develop that area, especially with now everybody using that, using that road, especially coming from Boone and Tennessee, I think that would be ideal if we can get that area developed eventually. I mean, we got to move away from the center of town.
Right.
We got to start spreading our wings and getting, we do have another section that we got to get people to start using other than the resort. So as we're working with developers, I try to, stir them that way if we could.
Well, as you know, interest rates are historically low, and there are people, I find, that are interested in coming to Beach Mountain to develop. As I said, I've had 3 meetings already with 3 different groups that were interested. I think there's more out there. And as we target some of these professionals who can market, and they do it for a profit, they can market those areas in our town for development and bring in, quality development, something that, the town will benefit, for 50 years. I think from an economic development standpoint, that process is in its infancy, but it's underway, and we've already seen results. So,
Great.
Good.
All right. Town council comments, Mr. Abernathy, you want to start off?
Sure. First of all, I'd like to thank Beach Mountain Volunteer Fire Department. Last Saturday, we had several crews that, with several other counties, we participated in a live fire exercise. I appreciate the commitment from the Volunteer Fire Department to be able to work in these live conditions and hone in on their skills. Some people may scratch their head, why do you want to go into a burning house? So thank you to the fire department. I want to also give my appreciation to our EMS, our LE, our town employees, and our town council for working together for the progress that we made on Beach Mountain and making Beach Mountain what it is. I think we've only scratched the surface. Riding around today, I was looking at Beach Mountain Parkway, the striping of the roads, the aesthetics of the lawn care that has been provided, which has been new in the past year. Beach Mountain is looking nice. I think there's still a lot of things that we can do. I talked to Chief Pudney about where instead of paving some of the gutters on some of our roads, that where you see the ditch line has been, where the tractors put a ditch line there for drainage, putting some river stones, flat river stones. I don't know how to look, but we, test a spot. Aesthetically, as we've spoken about for, a lot of folks have spoken about for years and years, Beech Mountain looks old, it looks worn out. Well, we're starting to look like, you know, the roughness is being sanded away. And I spoke to him last week about the possibility of you maybe putting some small retaining walls throughout, you know, sporadically throughout Beech Mountain, you know, 3 to 5 feet tall, some nice rock walls, just something to, you know, give Beech Mountain a little bit more pop than, you know, what we currently have. But we're definitely making progress. So thanks to everyone that's making this happen.
Okay, great. Aaron?
I just wanted to say, just to add on to what Widener had said, the Public Works gentlemen, they're actually out on my road this week. And I have been feeding them and going out and making sure they're hydrated, as well as asking questions and looking and seeing firsthand the work that they've done. What amazed me was when I looked at the piping that we know they are replacing. The age of the pipes, I'm stunned at the fact that we haven't had massive leakage or worse than it already is. They pointed out to me that everything that looked, and it was on top of like erosion on the pipes, and every spot that had more erosion than normal was an additional leak. And every pipe that I saw had multiple pieces of erosion on it. So we're gaining great lengths in the work that we're doing and the gentlemen are doing. And I will say they're working, and they're working through lunch, and there are 2 or 3 nights that they work till 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and that includes the paving company. I talked to the owner of the paving company himself today, who was out there with a shovel fixing spots and patches and things. So they're doing amazing work, and they are extremely busy. They said we're giving them plenty of work, and they're hoping that the weather stays well so that they can keep up with it. I'm extremely impressed at our Public Works folks. I'd also like to commend Susan for all of the landscaping that I've seen done on the Parkway. She's fabulous, does a magnificent job, never asks of anything. She's out there on the weekends planting and making our Parkway look beautiful. And I don't know about anyone else, but I went down off the mountain the other day, and the maximum speed I achieved was 9 miles per hour because there were so many folks up here visiting now that it was bumper to bumper all the way down. And we weren't following a big truck. It was just visitors that are coming up and down the mountain, and it's not just on the weekends, it's on the weekdays. People are coming. They're either escaping COVID in their states, but they're coming. I've been in touch and talked to a couple of realtors who have told me that they are absolutely slammed with folks that are looking at buying property and are moving to Beech Mountain because they are happy with the quality of living and the way it is looking, and they're coming with families. So we're doing a great job, and it's looking really well. So I commend, first of all, our council, and also working together, but Chief Putney as well. We're so fortunate to have him with the leadership and the guidance, because there's a lot going on our mountain, and everyone is working together, and people are noticing, not only our local citizens, but our visitors as well.
May I add something to what she said?
No. Go ahead.
You know, just to add to what she said, our mountain has been stagnant, and from what we see now, you know, this council and I was going to say management, the town and the employees and this council has really stirred the pot and making Beech Mountain what it is today. I think we've done a fabulous job, and we can't take our foot off the gas. And I hear about you cooking all the time for folks that are working around the house. If I come like mow your grass or weed eat, you make homemade chicken pie and fried chicken.
Well, she says if you take care of her horse, she
Oh,
may be able to do
that's
it.
a big, I don't want to feed it. It's a big deal.
Mr. Riccardi?
No, sir. I'm good.
All good? Kelly?
My first comment that I wanted to bring forth was regarding the trash-resistant amendment. Just wanted to let residents know your biggest way to get the best trash cans on Beach Mountain is to call in Bear Hits. So if you're walking or out driving and you see any garbage sitting in front of a non-compliant trash can, I used to clean it up because I was a good citizen, but you need to call Public Works, you need to report it, and unfortunately, I hate that Public Works has to clean it up, but that's the only way that people are gonna get fined. Once people get fined, they get 1 or 2 fines, they're gonna go ahead and put some type of bear-resistant trash can in. My neighborhood, I was the bear Nazi. I called every single one in. Every single house on my street now has a metal trash can. The system at the convenience center is working. My sons were turned away because they didn't have the placard, which I thought was great. So I know it's working, and I think that's great. I was talking to one of the landscapers up on Beach Mountain, and one of his comments I thought was very interesting. He said that now that he's in charge of working on the landscaping, that's freeing up Parks and Rec to have more time to work on the trails. So I have noticed a huge difference on just the signage on the trails, the upkeeping of the trails. So this whole plan is working out very, very well. The alien on the bathroom, I've had more comments about that than I have about the bathroom.
You mean bears?
So, yeah. So, John Merritt, what a great idea. You know, there are so many people that just have stopped me and said that's their favorite part about that bathroom. My other comment was to take a look at Shane Park. The whole building down there looks beautiful. The whole setup of the park, I think, is going to be really, really beneficial to residents of Beach Mountain. And none of this could have been done without council, without a great staff. And these are just things that people have said to me when I'm out walking with my mask on and all that kind of good stuff. And that's it.
With Shane Park, even though the town has done a lot, a lot of people contribute to it, to a lot of the public, which, help it happen. So that was great. I'd like to thank Bob for, he's taking a lot of flack. In fact, he looks like he's getting older.
Thanks.
But it's, it's a hard job. You get a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls, and a lot of them are not just, give you a pat on the back and saying, you're doing a great job. Glad you're there. And, and so every day you talk to him, he's always got a smile. He doesn't, he doesn't show any emotion per se that is being stressed by it all. But, when you get 29 or 30 emails a day, and none of them are complimentary, so at the end of the day, it could make you a little upset.
Go with him on a fire call and see how calm he is.
Yeah, well, I don't want to be there, believe me. But, I'm glad that you're staying on to 2024, as Mr. Abernathy has commented. And, but the town is looking a lot better, there is no question. So, with all the little things that are being done, and it really does shine. And there is we are getting a lot of tourists and people renting up here. I have a rental right next door to me. They leave at 10 o'clock in the morning, and at 3 o'clock the new ones are coming in. It's like day after day after day. In fact, his house for December is booked the whole month. So it just tells you what's going on around the mountain, which is great. And the more we do, the more it's going to reflect, the more people are going to enjoy coming up to the mountain. So that's my comments. So thank you.
Thank you.
I need a motion to go into closed session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Replace Greg Welch with, from Robbie Cavagnaro.
All in favor?
Aye.
And if eligible, I would like to replace Pete Chamberlain with Ernst Gesteiner,
If available.
if available.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. In closed session, out of closed session, the town is purchasing a property from Mr. Sable at the amount of $3,500. All in favor of the purchase?
I make the motion.
Motion first, sorry.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion so pass. Any other issues that we have to discuss at this point? Then I might need a motion to adjourn our meeting.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Did you say his last name? The second time?
Riley, how'd we do? We get any complaints on the audio?